with Jon Impemba and James Grande.
What is going on, FA Nation? Jon Impemba here with James Grande. Welcome into the Fantasy Alarm NBA DFS Playbook Show. It is Friday, and James, the thing we've been waiting on all week, the day has come. No late swap on DraftKings for today's 7-game main slate. We've alluded to this all week long. We've discussed some strategies. The day has come. It is here. And now it will be interesting to see the fallout. Should somebody who is questionable for the 8 p.m. slate end up being ruled out? If a healthy player ends up being a late scratch on the late game slate, on the 8 p.m. slate, it'll be interesting to see the fallout that comes from no late swap, whether good or bad. But it is here, at least for now. We do not know if it is here to stay, but at least for Friday, we have no late swap for the main slate.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely interesting. Again, I don't necessarily care as long as they don't do this while there's 10 p.m. games. That would be an obvious issue, because then you're actually just playing the slate blind, because you don't, half the time we have Lakers questionables on the late slate. So it is what it is. Hopefully we get all the relevant news prior to 7 p.m. that we need. There is a lot of news to break in the 8 p.m. window. De'Aaron Fox, Anthony Edwards, and Memphis in general as a team all need to come down to the wire. But definitely an interesting pivot. We'll see if the casual players stick around after their first zero, because that's apparently what is wanted, right? DraftKings wants to bring in the casual player. Yep. We'll see what happens after they get someone scratched after lock, see if they stick around, because that's not fun. I mean, that's, I'd rather
being dead in the water out of something that isn't in your control, and not being able to do anything about it is certainly frustrating. And you know what? Honestly, I've started to see some people who were initially pro no late swap today on Twitter almost sort of backtracking a little bit, and maybe they had more time to think about it than their initial gut reactions to it. Some more apathetic to the whole thing as it is, just in general here. So I'm curious to see the reactions should something like that end up happening here. And we appreciate you all tuning in. Love seeing this out of Coach Chris. He's always in the chat with us here. I saw him in there saying, his days of DFS are numbered as soon as sportsbooks go live. And yet here he comes in third place last night in the $3, building out that DFS bankroll here. And now he's got the big $4 no late swap slate that he's got some entries in here. So congrats to you, Coach Chris. Happy to see you out there. Take it down, and hopefully some continued success here tonight. Because we don't want to see anybody go away from DFS here. James and I both play DFS. We both obviously, I at least sports bets. So James soon, living over near North Carolina border there, will be able to get and do some sports betting. Maybe as soon as this weekend or something like that. I saw there's some live sports books promos available for people to take advantage of. So sooner rather than later, he'll be able to join me over there in the sports betting waters. But there's room for both sports betting and DFS in our lives here. So happy to have you all tuning in. Justin, I see through you. Appreciate you guys in here as well. If you have any questions, feel free to throw them in the chat. Certainly going to help you guys out here today. We'll build some lineups. We'll talk about the slate. If you have any specific questions regarding the non-late swap, let us know. Really happy to help you out there. What do you want to talk about here? You want to break down the matchups? You want to talk a little bit more about the no late swap? What do you think, James?
Let's move away from the late swap and just get into the breakdown.
All right, we'll talk about it. Here, I will give a quick shout out because Chris did mention MMA. They need to put late swap back in for MMA. We have maybe like the best MMA DFS writer, Mike, I know, and this dude has taken down outright first place overall. What? A dozen contests by now this year. His playbook, MMA DFS playbook, is already out on site. So if you go to fantasy.com, if you like the sport of MMA, if you like MMA DFS, you got to check out what Mike Ianone's been doing. I'm not even exaggerating. He has outright won first place in the $8 and $10 tournament this year, more times than I have fingers. So elite content out there for Mike Ianone. And so go check that out for sure. But on to today's NBA DFS slate, talking about matchups, talking about spreads, games, and totals here. First game, Cleveland, Detroit. Detroit's at home getting 8.5. That's a 221 total. Charlotte, Philly. Philly giving 11, 214 total there. Dallas, Boston. Boston giving 9 at home, 237 total. Golden State, Toronto. Toronto getting 2.5. That's a 237 total. Portland, Memphis. Memphis is a 1.5 point home favorite with a 207.5 game total. James, is that the lowest we've seen this year? Have we gotten lower?
I don't think so. I think that's probably the lowest.
That's got to be one of the lowest we've seen. Sacramento, Minnesota here, 6.5 point spread there, 225 total. And then Indiana versus New Orleans. New Orleans a 5.5 point home favorite, 238.5 game total there.
Yeah, despite the game total, I just updated the ownership over at FantasyAlarm.com. And the first 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 players on the ownership list are from Portland, Memphis. So things are going to be very consolidated tonight within one game, in the game with the lowest total. So very interesting to see that.
Yeah, 100% here, because you mentioned that rostership quite crazy. You can go check out James's Twitter timeline. You can get a snapshot of what the ownership projections look like. And then, of course, if you are a member of the Fantasy Alarm family, you can go check out and have access to our ownership projections there if you have the All-Pro subscription package. Let's get into the point guard position here. Luka Doncic is 12-1. Tyrese Halliburton, 94. Scotty Barnes, 93. Donnie Mitch, 92. And Steph Curry at $9,100. We talked about it this morning and on the show last night. We have no problems paying up the 12-1 for Luka Doncic. We assume he's going to be good to go because I saw the video of him punting a basketball into the upper bleachers of the TD Garden tonight. So my assumption here is that the ankle is okay if he's going to be kicking a basketball like that here. So 12-1 for Luka against Boston. Do you have any issues paying up for him?
No, I just put a short up on the Fantasy Time YouTube prioritizing Luka tonight. He's 10% rostered. And you and I have got on these airwaves for years and said there are times where stars are in bad matchups. Undoubtedly, this is a bad matchup. Boston is the best defense, or if not one of the best defenses in the league. They have two of the best perimeter defenders in the league, if not two of just the best pure defenders in the league. And Luka has a 33-point triple-double on his ledger against them in a game that Kyrie played. And Luka Doncic has just constantly had a higher fantasy ceiling than pretty much everyone else in the game. So there's not anything anyone can do when Luka's going well. We saw that against Cleveland two games ago, where Cleveland is the number 1 rated defense in basketball, or number 2 rated defense in basketball. Didn't matter, right? Yep. Did not matter in the slightest. And that's just kind of what's happening right now with Luka. Went through shoot around, as you mentioned, punted the basketball. This is like one of those games where, first off, obviously, like if you go into Boston, Luka's a top 3 MVP candidate right now, right? If they go into Boston and win, that strengthens your case for MVP.
Sure does.
Because Boston doesn't lose at home. So I think there's extra incentive for Luka tonight, and I am prioritizing him because, again, all the ownership's in one game. I can play the chalk at such high ownership and just get a 10% Luka who gives me a chance to go for 80 to 100 fantasy points. I'll take those opportunities and I'll eat the chalk elsewhere and just play alone Luka tonight.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I think that the upside he has now, again, it doesn't always matter, but I do like to at least point out fourth straight road game for Dallas here. You know, there have been trends for some players that extended road games, these teams get tired, the travel, it wears on them. Now, this isn't a back-to-back. They've been in Boston for a couple of days now at this point. But the travel does matter. It may not matter for a player like Luka. So, that's just kind of what it is. But, at least want to put out the word that this is the fourth straight road game for Dallas here. Some tough spots, but I agree. If we are going down, Scotty Barnes for me against Golden State, hard to ignore current form Scotty Barnes. Price obviously is appropriate for the recent production, if not even a little bit too low. Golden State, you've mentioned, though, better defensively. Draymond Green, Where are you tonight with Toronto versus and Scotty Barnes here with Golden State on the back-to-back?
Yeah, I mean, even in nights that he struggled shooting, the peripheral stats have been great. Like he shot 40% the other night against Dallas. He had 18 rebounds and assists combined. He had 50 fantasy points. So no problem getting to Scotty Barnes all formats in current form.
Yeah, I agree. Core play for me. Have him in the core play section of the playbook. We'll have that updated for you all after today's live stream. The initial release was done around noon. I'll have updates and write-ups for everybody once this stream is over for today. Anybody else in this upper 9K range? Do you like Donnie Mitch? Do you like Curry in their matchups here tonight? Or are you kind of jumping down? Obviously, the cover of our show today being Tyrese Maxey, they're at 8,700.
Yeah, I mean, I'm okay getting to anyone in the 9K tier. Halliburton obviously has a ceiling at 9,400. Curry has a ceiling. Really good matchup. Toronto's 29th in defense since trading OG. And Donovan Mitchell, 9,200. We just need the tweet. I don't have his noties turned on, so we need your notifications to lead us to the if we get the let him know. But
I haven't seen it yet, dude. And
yeah, it's not good.
Not good. We're not good. We're in there. We're in the let them know range, and we haven't gotten it yet. So
I think we're beyond. I think it's usually I think you said you were looking through
we're max. If it's not done given out by 5:30, he's not playing. That's if we don't get the let him know by the end of this show, and if we don't get it within the next 15 or so minutes, I don't expect Donovan Mitchell to play. He is usually very quick to give him the let him know at the 7 p.m. start time here. So yeah, it's something to watch for sure.
That's a 7 p.m. start. It's 35:15.
Yeah. And for those of you who don't know, Donovan Mitchell tweets out hashtag let him know every day that he plays.
Yep.
And he usually does it a couple hours before game time. So
you need the Donnie Mitch note. You need the Donnie Mitch noties on. I'm going to turn him on right now, actually.
Yeah, I have him turned on, push notification. So we'll see if we get to let him know or not. Because I mean, dude, Garland at 68 against Detroit would be a steal. Yep. As would be Evan Mobley tonight at $7,200. I mean, Max Strus was pretty cheap. LeVert also questionable for tonight.
Yes.
So something to watch for there with the Cleveland backcourt. Obviously, though, Detroit a pretty easy matchup. I do like Maxey again. I think he's close to a core play for me tonight. Him and Simons in this mid tier, really great spots. Hard to ignore what Emmanuel quickly has been doing, also at $7,200. So some really good plays. But like I said, if there's no Donovan Mitchell, I play Garland instead. Garland, I'll take the discount, and Garland for me has as much upside as the other guards we just talked about.
I mean, he is facing the second worst team in the NBA, though.
It's true.
Not the worst. So
and the team that covers spreads.
And the team that covers spreads. It would be agreed on all fronts. Garland would be number one if there's no Mitchell. And like you just have to play. That's where things get a little interesting because if there's no Mitchell or LeVert, like Garland's a plug and play, then you're making a decision like, okay, now I'm deciding between like Luka Garland and like there's a lot of guards tonight, especially with the Memphis Portland game being what it is. That becomes very interesting. He's not playing. If we haven't got to let him know by now,
I know. I'm kind of leaning with you too. I think Cleveland's also looking like, all right, it's Detroit.
That Bulls game the other night. Bulls have lost twice to Detroit. So
how did Cleveland do against the Bulls? So
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Well, by the way that it works, Cleveland
the transitive properties of
Detroit is the best team of the three, technically.
It's true. All right, so that's fine. Coach Chris was saying he was playing Garland anyways. I mean, you probably could have played Garland anyways, but obviously he was a blowout potential given the spread, and you worried a little bit about there. But some crazy upside for him. 40 plus would be a payout easily there. Podziemski's already out. I mean, so what is it? Podziemski, rather? Do you think Chris Paul gets more playing time? Do you think that Klay Thompson ends up with more playing time? What do we get here for this?
Yeah, I mean, I think both probably.
Does Moody get more playing time? I mean, he's 4K again starting.
Yeah, I think there's a case to be made for all three. Probably whoever's running the best. I mean, Chris Paul played 26 minutes yesterday. That was 22 minutes first game, 26 back. Was playing upwards of 30 a night before the injury. So
another 3 steals for him there.
Yeah, he was good. He was good again. I think all 3 of them probably project somewhere between like 26 and 30 minutes, somewhere in that range.
Yep, I'm with you there. Just talking about chalk monsters though, Jordan Goodwin's here.
Yeah.
Whole field is playing him. What was he, 50% or something
60,
like that?
60 upon new update.
Yeah, 60 upon new update. So, I mean, the man nearly triple-doubled. He was 1 of 8 shooting. He's going to play a lot of minutes. We talked about how depleted Memphis is here tonight. It's also a good matchup. Like Portland, obviously not a great defensive team, and they're also without, DeAndre Ayton here tonight. No Brogdon, no Scoot Henderson, no Shaden Sharp. Like they too are also very depleted. Plug and play Goodwin. We did it on the show this morning. I think you just have to eat the chalk here.
Yeah, they don't have another guard either. Like they had Derrick Rose at least for 6 minutes the other day, and now they don't even have Derrick Rose. So I mean, it's all Jordan Goodwin. They're probably looking at the Josh Hart situation yesterday, John. They're like, "Hey, did you see what Josh Hart did yesterday?" And Goodwin's like, "Yeah." He's like, "All right, get ready, buddy. Get ready to play 48 tonight, buddy." That's what shout out Adam Silver meme. But yeah, Jordan Goodwin's going to play as many minutes as he can tonight.
Agreed. Any other value guards then? I mean, obviously there's some guys we could look at, but does Goodwin just be the guy to plug and move on from? Mm-hmm. Shooting guard then. Kyrie Irving's here at $8,900. Anthony Edwards at 88. One of those 8 p.m. questionable plays that we have to wait and see. Him and De'Aaron Fox, obviously. Ingram, Jaylen Brown, RJ Barrett, your 7K and above group.
I like Mitchell, as we mentioned. Kyrie's fine in tournaments. Edwards definitely fine in tournaments. Really good spot for Minnesota if he plays. But this is your first test of how risk averse are you with Anthony Edwards, and considering that's an 8 p.m. game, and we probably won't know in time. So depending on your risk aversion is getting to Edwards, but I do think he plays. Ingram is definitely in a good spot against Indiana. There's ceiling and opportunity there. And Jalen's also in a really good spot against Dallas. I've teetered all day with the idea of playing either Jaylen Brown or Kristaps Porzingis. And right now I'm currently on the side of Porzingis, but
after what we just saw, was it Pirtle the other day? Like they just had 0 answer for him. I gotta think Porzingis is in for a huge day.
My only thing with Porzingis versus Brown is that this is another situation with Porzingis where they're clearly like limiting his minutes a little bit. He's playing like low 30s every night, where Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum just playing 40. And I get why Boston's doing that. Porzingis has been made of glass his whole career. It's like, let him play low 30s, don't wear him out, let him get to the postseason. Completely understand. Where do
you think if these were more competitive games, maybe he'd play more? Or
like Brown in those games, 35, 35, 33, 37, 37. Jason Tatum in those games, 35, 43, 35, 28 against Brooklyn. Obviously, that was like the most egregious game ever. 39 against Brooklyn. I'm not saying he can't, but it just seems like in that Miami game, or he didn't play. I guess he didn't play the first Brooklyn game, but that Miami game, 4-point win, plays 32 minutes. The Washington game, 4-point win, plays 33 minutes. Like it just seems like there is.
And they have Al Horford, right? So they have an actual legitimate guy that can back him up. That's fair. I definitely like Jaylen Brown. I built a lineup today that had both Brown and Kristaps actually in it. So with the value, you can certainly get there.
Right.
Again, nothing against RJ Barrett here. He's been nails as well. 7K, him and quickly in that 7K range. Perfect. Brandon Miller, 66. Matherin, 64. Ivy, 62. And then we get down to Vince Williams Jr., 6,100 here against Portland. Again, another plug and play for me. Ownership, and also when it's been only him, like he actually has kind of stepped up and been that guy.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know how to say no to any Memphis tonight. I get it. Like he's maybe not want to play so many Memphis guys, but I have 6 members of that game in my lineups tonight, and 5 of them are on one team. So it's just what it is. They have. Is
the other one Duab Reith or is it Anthony Simons? Tamani
No,
Kamara.
it's 4-2. It's
Okay.
4-2.
Okay.
But Vince is one of the 4, and like it just is what it is. If Kennard, Concher, Gigi Jackson all sit, those are their 3 active or 3 on the injury report. They have 9 active bodies, and one of them is Yuta Watanabe. One of them is Trey Jemison, who's like not playing, and the other one's Matt Hurt. Right, like that's their 7, 8, 9.
Yeah.
So I think you just plug Vince Williams in and you just move on. I don't want to be like redundant or boring or repetitive
Yeah, and
about
listen,
like
we've been willing to
what it
play him when
is,
they've been
but
fully healthy, right?
yeah.
So why not play him when they have nobody? So I'm fully
Yeah.
on board with you here. We've seen ceiling shooting games out of him in the past. We know he's going to fill the stat sheet up. I guess like maybe his assist totals can't be there because who else is scoring? But
Yeah, well, it was in that. If you remember that Milwaukee game that he like ran basically point guard before the break,
yeah,
he had that like stretch where Jaren Jackson wasn't in that Milwaukee game.
sure. So definitely like him again. And I know I just kind of truck through some of those other 6K guys. Like we definitely like them. But Vince Williams, again, just from an ownership and opportunity and matchup standpoint, like priority, it is very rare. Almost never will you see James and I look at a game with a 208 game total and be like, yeah, stack it. But
It is what it is.
it's we'll see. We'll see if 208 holds or not. But there's too much value here, really to take a look at that. This is also an 8 p.m. game.
Yep.
It could get thrown into oh hell if all of a sudden Conchar and Kennard are like active, right? Like, and now Laravia and some other guys take a hit with some playing time.
So I think those 2 all assuredly are out. I think Gigi Jackson's your only like possible here. He's the only one listed questionable. I think what's very interesting, and we'll get to the position later, but the center rostership on one Trey Jemison, who yes started the last time Jaren Jackson was out, but has DMP'd every game since the All-Star break, even including in blowouts that they have played in, and has been played over, like other guys have played over him, I find very interesting. And we're not going to know what that starting lineup is until 7:30. So
this isn't a hey, play, do our brief unless Jemison's in and then pivot. It's you're stuck.
Yeah,
so.
if you're playing Jemison and he DMPs, it's like, oh well, that was a mistake.
See you tomorrow. All right, we're going our way down shooting guard here. I mean, Malik Monk would be a very nice play if you knew that De'Aaron Fox is out beforehand. I know they started Davion Mitchell ahead of time, but obviously the upside could be there. Yep. We've seen a lot of Lamar Stevens questions here a couple times already in chat. Nico and then it's Ernest both mentioning Lamar Stevens. We're not at the position where he is in, but yes, he is somebody that we will talk about momentarily as well. Any other value shooting guards for you? Again, Moses Moody's down here. He's been starting. He played 26 minutes. Now there's no Pajemski. Think there's a ceiling for him tonight?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think you could look at yesterday and be like, oh, he played 26 minutes in like a pretty competitive game and not like it. Just, 3 for 9 shooting. He's been a subpar shooter this year. I would say worse than he's been in his past. So I like it. 4K for a guy who can knock down shots. Second leg of a back-to-back, shorter rotation with Pajemski out. It's just we don't know if those 26 minutes become 28 or if they stay at 26 or what, because Steve Kerr is obviously very random. We didn't mention Clay at 58. Those extra minutes might go to Clay, and he might play 32 minutes off the bench, and Moody doesn't play anything more than he did. So Clay, Shrews, I think they're tournament plays, especially because we still haven't been told by Donovan Mitchell that he's playing or not. Just nothing just refreshing Donovan Mitchell's Twitter.
I did. No, let him know there.
Now, I do have a question. If Karis LeVert plays and Mitchell is out, how much interest do you have in Karis LeVert at 54?
Yeah, 100%. 100%. Would play him for sure. We know, 40 plus fantasy point ceiling with that guy. So
he went for 40. He went for 55 the other day.
I said 40 plus.
Oh, so. Yeah. Well, I'm just saying
50 the ceiling plus. For sure is 50, 60, but like I think there's a good shot at 40 plus there as a starter now. Now we've seen Mitchell be out and LeVert still comes off the bench.
I think
and
he
they
will.
start Merrill or somebody like that instead. So
I think he'll. I think easy Okoro. I think Okoro starts and he still comes off the bench.
yeah, there's Travis in here calling out. Maybe I'll play Okoro. I mean, dude, he's had moments. He certainly had moments, but there's too many other better plays. I think for him there. You talked Zaire Williams, I'm sure already here.
No, but he's obviously an elite.
I mean, yeah, but you know his minutes are secure, so
yes.
Yep, for sure he's there. All right, let's go on over to small forward. Yeah, if Anthony Edwards gets out, NAW is a play. Just blanket statement on that one. Tatum $9,800 at small forward. Miles Bridges, we had a question on Miles Bridges rebounds earlier today at 7.5. I mean, I think it's a spot. Philly, they're an okay rebounding team. Bridges is a guy that's been aggressive on the glass, double-digit rebounds in 5 of the last 7, and it's only 7.5. I think you could go Bridges boards if you wanted to. He's $8,300. You talked Ingram. Siakam's been playing out of his mind and is under 8K. It's a pretty good price tag for him. And then we talked Jeremy Grant. Again, looking at what Portland has and what he's going to be up against. I mean, no Ayton. There's going to be some shots here for Jeremy Grant tonight.
Yeah, and we know Jeremy Grant don't need anybody out to find his shot. That's a guy who has developed quite the offensive game from where he started until now. Just circling back to Tatum, I think Tatum's an elite spot if Dallas does keep that game competitive. Tatum can go nuclear. Bridges rebounds do look pretty good. Bottom 10 rebounding team is Philly. I bet you if I did like a closer scope on that, since the time Embiid went out, that would be way worse because if they're 20th in the league in rebounding, just blanket statement for the season. I mean, what are they without Joel Embiid? Ingram's fine. We talked about Siakam for sure is very interesting, and then Jeremy Grant, obviously. I think Grant. If you were only playing one Portland spend up between Grant and Simons, who would you play?
Simons.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he's got like a 40 actual point ceiling. He takes 25.
Grant scored 49.
I know, but in 45 minutes against Detroit.
Yeah, but he's like had like 38. He's at 38, 34, 30, 30, 30, 37, 49.
Well, it's still Simons.
Okay.
It's still Simons. The shot volume on Simons has always been much greater. I think Simons is the guy that you're going for here. He too had a 40 actual game against San Antonio lately. He's had the 38s. He had the 41 against Washington. Do they have? They probably have competing games if you go 1-to-1 on who has scoring. But I think just pure shot volume, Simons is probably the guy for me here.
I'm not disputing Simon. He is a fire-breathing dragon.
I'll sidestep my own argument here and just say from a positional standpoint, there are better options at guard tonight to move off of Simons.
That's what I think as well.
Small forward for Grant. So if you want to build a lineup, maybe Grant fits your roster build better. But I still think Simons is the better play. So It all depends on how you're building your lineups tonight.
Okay. It's a good breakdown. Yeah, it's a good breakdown.
Where else are you looking at small forward?
Talked Vince, talked Clay. Sor Thompson's been really, really good of late. If you want to go there, 35 and 36 minutes the last 2 games. That's obviously trending in the right direction. Talk Strus if there's guys out. We got to talk about the multiple people in chat talking about Toumani Camara. He's $4,200 coming off one singular good game, right? Maybe a couple in his last handful.
Mm-hmm.
I get it because he's 4,200 and it's a little contrarian from the Memphis value. Like if you want to play Toumani Camara, like that's clearly a pivot from the Memphis value. I don't know, man. Like he's in a lot of foul trouble all the time. There's a lot of times that he's taken off the floor just for other players. And I know they're like very banged up, but I'm just a little hesitant to get to such a low volume player. I know, again, 12 shots is great. He's only taken double-digit shot attempts in 7 of 56 games this year.
Yeah. I mean, listen, he's been a low usage, low volume player. He's been efficient, but he's also been like efficient with his threes as part of these scoring days as well. So like he takes 4 shots, he hits 2 threes, it makes him look good. He's been good on the glass. Rebounds, I think, are going to be legit for him still if he's going to play the minutes. So I won't argue on the boards.
Yep.
Could be a sneaky rebounding game. The problem also is like, what if they ice him out? What if they play Jabari Walker? And
dude, that's my thinking too. Like there is definitely a case for it, and it's like, again, it's a contrarian way to get exposure, right? From like the chalkier Memphis side or the Portland chalk, but I don't know. It's fine as like a last piece in, I guess.
Yeah, I agree with you there. Again, just there's some risk there for sure. Any other value small forwards for you? I mean, do you think Chris Murray has any appeal?
At that point, I'd rather play Kamara or Jake LaRavia if we knew that Gigi Jackson was out. I think LaRavia has like a pretty solid minute ceiling in that instance. I don't think we're gonna get the news for Gigi Jackson before lock. Brennan Miller officially now questionable.
Yeah, dude, it was weird. So he went from upgraded to probable, then downgraded to questionable again. That would be Cody Martin, right? I would assume. Or do you think they go with like Mitic, or what do you think they would do if Miller gets ruled out here?
Well, Bridges, Miller, Mann, Richards, Martin. That's their starting 5. So
already,
I think there's a couple ways. Miller's so. You could technically go Grant Williams in the starting lineup. You could play like, it's going to be? It's going to be Seth Curry. It would be Seth Curry. It would probably be Seth Curry.
Would you play a $3,400 Seth Curry tonight?
Yeah. Do we need to? Maybe not, but I'm not against it. Do
you think a $3,400 Seth Curry is a better play than some of the value Memphis guys that you'd be looking at?
Well, like under 5K Memphis, not better than Goodwin. Goodwin's going to play as many minutes he can handle.
Yeah.
Not better than Zaire, 4,600. Zaire's going to play all the minutes he can handle. We'll talk about Lamar Stevens soon. I think there's an outside chance we see Lamar Stevens start possibly today, especially with Duop Reith starting on the other side, most likely. He's probably better than like the rest of the list. Yeah, he's probably better than LaRavia. Jamison, I'm not convinced is even in the rotation or is more than a backup.
Sure. Because they could go Aldama at the 5 and Stevens at the 4. So
yeah, Aldama's 6'10". Like Aldama's 6'10". That would not be a problem against Duop Reith, who spends all of his time on the perimeter anyway.
Right. Agreed.
Yeah, Seth would be fine. Better than like the second half of the Memphis value.
Mm-hmm. All right, power forward here. By the way, it's over 5:30. We don't have a let him know. I don't think Donovan Mitchell's playing tonight.
Yeah, I'm assuming we're gonna probably get like a Bickerstaff update soon, and he's gonna be like, "Yeah, you're not. I'm letting you know that he's not playing."
Right. He'll be a game time decision.
That's
but
true.
Like we're not gonna get to let him know. So, but it's a 7:00 game, so we'll know before. Power forward here. A lot of these guys we've discussed. Towns is here at $8,200. We had a comment earlier in the chat. I think it was Travis. Yeah, Travis said he faded the Boston guys. He's playing Fox and Towns. Obviously, Fox is a tough risk. But do you mind playing Towns here tonight?
No, it's a great spot. I mean, Sacramento's a really good matchup for Minnesota. Good pace spot. They use bigger lineups at times, which benefits Cat. 38 minutes, 48 fantasy points against them in a previous meeting. So I have no problem getting there. And to where Travis could benefit is, I mean, one, he has playing De'Aaron Fox. So that could, blow up in his face if Fox, because Fox also went through shoot around again today. He also went through shoot around the other day and then didn't play. So that could be obviously a bad thing because there's no late swap unless he's playing on FanDuel. But DraftKings, and what if Edwards doesn't play? And
Right.
he only has Towns at one. Towns is going to be 1%, right?
Sure.
And that because nobody's sitting there unless you're playing in the $4 150 max.
Max ending, yeah.
Nobody's getting the Towns in like 1 to how many lineups, right? So, I think that's a good multi-entry play and a good FanDuel play because there you go. Towns will, if there's no Edwards, you pivot to Towns.
He's playing on FanDuel, so he has a late swap. So there you go. Chris, I agree. I think Mitchell's out. Anthony, I saw your question. So Tatum revenge tour. I don't know what he's got revenge on, but we're certainly happy to play some Jason Tatum. Price under 10K. He's been going off. Happy to see it. Certainly can lick Jaylen Brown if you want. I prefer to click on Jaylen Brown here.
That's definitely supposed to say lock in, John, not lick. Okay. But I don't know if if you're my keyboard, the way it's set up, I'm looking at it now. So from right to left, POIU.
Yeah.
So that's how my keyboard's set up. So
okay.
Anthony definitely maybe he did click I, and you know what? Good for you. But I'm assuming he wanted to click the O.
Yeah. Yes, Levert is an option. We're in here. I know Anthony watched this a little bit on delay, so definitely playing Levert tonight, especially now that there's no now that there's no
Yo, that is so funny.
Anyways. And then Toby, what do you think? So Oubre just got downgraded, actually.
Yeah.
So if Oubre is out, how does that make you? Again, it is a good matchup for Philly. I like Maxey a lot tonight, but is Toby flying under the radar here?
He's just looked terrible with this new team, like this new look team, dude. He's just fine.
Well, the shots are going elsewhere now. So
the Boston game, the shots were great, 5 for 19.
Yeah,
but 5 for 19 is obviously like 6,700.
He was giving us 20 plus shots for like a good stretch there.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm indifferent about
it. It's a good matchup though. I mean, if Oubre's out, I think I just upgrade Buddy. Yeah, exactly. Travis is on us here. Especially on DraftKings, I think I give Buddy Hield more of a look if Oubre gets ruled out here. The way I'm looking at it, I think the shots could be there. Good matchup for him. And yeah, listen, Luka's a must play almost every night, Anthony. So the ownership's there because there's so much value on the slate. And I think you play on FanDuel too, if I remember, Anthony. I think we've talked about this before. But there's so much value on the slate here tonight that you can get Luka in pretty easily. So
dude, Luka's not rostered tonight.
Really? That's so weird.
That was what my short was about. He's 9% on FanDuel. Okay. He's 10% on DraftKings.
Like crazy.
Well, dude, people see matchup, they see Boston, and we're just like, no, X off. And
I 38 total.
I get it, right? And in theory, I understand it. You look at Drew Holiday, you look at Derek White, both those dudes might be first team all defense, right? And if one of them's not first team, one of them second, the other one's second team. So I get it. But we say this all the time. It doesn't matter. If Luka's going, dude, it does not matter if Boston had the monsters defensively. Luka would score on them. So it's one of those things where you look at a star at sub 10% or at 10%, and you're like, well, this is where I'm making my stand in tournaments. And that's why when I saw Chris's comment earlier today, he was like, just playing a couple Memphis guys, I don't want to be so chalky. I am willing to be chalky with that game. And because I'm also playing a 10% Luka that can possibly give me 100 fantasy points tonight. Mm-hmm. And that's where I'll be different, right? I'll be different for 80 to 100 tonight. That's okay. I'll go be with the field else with the rest of my lineup.
Yep, I agree with you. So again, there are a lot of power forwards here that we do like. Once we get down a little bit more, Zion at 81, I think is appealing. We've talked Porzingis, Evan Mobley. I don't know. I can only say so many good things about Evan Mobley. I've been doing it for about a month now, and if there's no Donovan Mitchell, it's even better for Evan Mobley here.
Agreed.
He's gonna be up against Isaiah Stewart. That's he's only gonna be worried about being punched in the mouth. I think that's maybe the one thing to worry about with Isaiah Stewart, but. $7,200 for Evan Mobley feels pretty good. Jonathan Kuminga has been really good lately. $6,400 for him. Travis wants to know, would you play Washington here? He's been okay lately. How many guys do you want to go against Boston? I also think that this is going to be a Kyrie Irving day because it is Boston as well. He kind of like, someone said he was doing the
Sage.
The sage, around the court today. So like, yeah. They were all in their bag today during their pregame. Kyrie was doing the sage, and Luka was punting basketball. So
they've done that. Luke, we've seen Kyrie do that a couple. He's done that a couple different arenas for sure.
Yeah. Try to get rid of the bad omens here.
Bad
Did
juju.
you play Luka in Washington or Fox and Towns?
I like the second pairing better, but obviously I like Luka overall.
Yeah, like, can you play Luka and just not pay all the way up for Washington? I'm sure, like, play Santi Aldama for 40.
Yeah, that would probably be,
right. Yeah, like, I think I'd rather go that route there and then figure out what you're going to do with your extra $1,300. Maybe move your lineup around here. So, what do we got here? Eugene Umiori getting a 2-way deal. There you go. Your guy from Washington. All right. What other power forwards are we looking at here tonight?
Santi Aldama. Endless. No. I mean, if Gigi Jackson played, obviously the problem is we don't know if he's going to play. He's getting 20% rostership. So, like, and that just comes with what happens. Like, ownership doesn't factor in the questionable. Like, that's what the field is getting to. They're getting to Gigi Jackson. So, if we did find out Gigi Jackson was playing before lock, then I'm okay with it. And if you're playing on FanDuel, I'm also okay with it.
Yeah.
But let's go to Lamar. Let's go to Lamar Stevens. He's 4,100 because I think it's an interesting topic. He has been like their backup center, and they've DMP'd Jamison since the break. Do you think Jamison starts? Like, what's your opinion on if you were Memphis? Let's say Gigi Jackson's out, right? Let's just say, for sake of the argument, they have the 9 players. All the questionables and doubtfuls are out. What's their starting lineup? Is it Stevens? Or is it Jamison? Because we've seen Jamison start. We haven't seen Stevens start.
I mean, it's probably Jamison because that's just been the way. How many times have you seen that, right? Teams just they don't play a guy, they don't play a guy, they don't play a guy. Then as soon as that guy gets ruled out, that guy's playing because that's just the role they have him pegged for, right? So I would bet it's Jamison if that's the way it was last time. So
Vince, Santi, Goodwin, Zaire, Trey Jamison.
Yeah.
That's your starting 5.
I guess.
So where does Lamar Stevens play the most off the bench if there's no Gigi Jackson?
Probably because I don't see Jamison playing 35 minutes.
That has not been the case.
That's what I'm saying, right?
Lamar's been better. Lamar's been better off the bench. I know Jamison's 3,300, and that's like obviously the appeal versus Stevenson 41. But I don't know. Stevens just feels he was doing this in Boston in limited minutes, and now like every time he's gotten 20 minutes, 26 minutes, 21 fantasy points, 20 minutes, 30 fantasy points, 29 minutes, 21 fantasy points. 16 minutes, 23 fantasy points, 23 minutes, 29 fantasy points. That's 5 of his last 6 games where he's gotten at least 16 minutes. He's given us 20 fantasy points. So,
yeah. Yeah, I agree. I get he's been a fantasy point per minute guy in the past. I'm fine throwing him into lineups. No problem at all. I got nothing else down here though.
I don't think we got anything. Shout out Poku. He's available. Shout out Poku he's available with the Charlotte Hornets. That
would be. Can you imagine if like Miller and other people get ruled out and all of a sudden we get some Poku in the lineup? That'd be a thing. All right, let's go on over to center here. Sabonis is up here, as our guy Travis said. Always live for a triple double.
Yep.
David, we'll talk about some player props at the end here, my guy. If you have any questions on player props, feel free to throw them our way. I'll definitely help you out. Just working our way through this DraftKings slate for now. I know James has some props probably for you. I got a couple I like as well here. Sabonis is 10-2. You got it? Get in? You like him?
I'm always okay getting this Sabonis. I mean, it's obviously a tough spot, but like leads the league in triple doubles. That's Always live for a triple double here.
Always live for a triple double. I agree with you. Don't think I'm getting there to him personally. Just I like, again, center for me. I've plugged in Porzingis. I like Mobley tonight as well. I think Pirtle's kind of interesting, just the way he's been playing lately. Teams just really haven't been able to stop him. He's been giving out assists. He's been rebounding. He's been playing some defense. I like Pirtle in the mid tier here. Paul Reed at $5,400. What are your thoughts with the minutes the last game against Boston? It's been better a little bit lately in other matchups. I mean, we've been attacking Charlotte all season with guys here. What are your thoughts?
I think Paul Reed just couldn't hang trying to chase Porzingis at the perimeter. Okay. It's normally what he's been lacking, right? He has struggles getting out to the perimeter, defending out there. So I think there's just a matchup nightmare. I agree on the Pirtle call. Like, dude, he's been great. Even with Kelly Olynyk there, he's been fantastic. 42 fantasy points, 37 fantasy points, 45 his last 3. He's gone for 37 or more in 4 of his last 5 overall. The minutes, even with like middling minutes, haven't even been great, and he's still smashed. Yeah. So he's been awesome. Same thing. Miles Turner's in the same regard has also been awesome. 34 plus fantasy points in 8 of his last 9, 5 straight. So I think both those guys would stand out. I'm indifferent about Reed. Especially when Richards gets taken off the floor. Like if Richards has one of those low 20s minutes games, Paul Reed's gonna only probably the same, because then when they go small with Grant Williams, well,
sure.
Why do we have Paul Reed on the floor anymore? It's like we've seen this story every time there's a floor spacer, Paul Reed gets taken off. So
okay. Then there's Duop Reed here at $4,200.
Yeah. I mean, he's like a good fan. He was like a better fantasy producer earlier in the year. Obviously, he's taken a clear second.
Yeah, I don't think they had Jeremy Grant or Simons like during this run, right? Weren't they down both those guys?
Dude, it's who knows? Like it's impossible to remember, or just like one guy was in, one guy was out. I mean, Simons missed a boatload of time, but so did Shaedon Sharpe, and Grant missed some time, and like, obviously there was no DeAndre Ayton either, so. I'm okay getting a Duop Reed 4,200. I'm like, it's, assuming he's starting, but also what if like we get a curveball and Moses Brown is questionable. Moses Brown is questionable.
I saw that.
What if we get a curveball? Ibu Baji, like, that's the scary part about using someone like Duop Reed, where they like Chauncey has no incentive to like just run Duop Reed out there for like 47 minutes, right? Where
yeah, I agree. All right, let's get a lineup build here. What do you think here? Can we do Turner, Pirtle, Bamba? Nah, I'm not really in on Bamba for the questions there. So let's build a lineup and we'll get to some favorite player props for the night, and we'll go through there. How's that sound?
Yeah, let's build. Let's jam some. Let's
Memphis,
have some fun. Let's have some
Memphis in here.
Let's have some fun. Yeah, Vince Williams.
Let's see. Vince Williams, small forward, Goodwin at point guard.
Goodwin.
What do we do? Aldama, power forward.
And we could just play their best 4 players and just call it a day. Like we could play Zaire too, 46.
Okay. I like Porzingis here.
Yeah. No problem getting to Zinger.
7,400. So you went Luka. It's 51 for a forward and a util. Let's see. What's our next value? I guess we could probably go Moody. No, Podziemski isn't starting anyways. I have a problem going there. $6,200. Not a lot down here.
No,
what do you think?
I mean,
I guess if we go down from Porzingis, we could go to Pirtle
or Reef.
Or get super value at Reef down here.
And then you get like Tatum.
94.
Oh, we're just off Tatum. Scotty Barnes.
I don't hate it. Again, stacking up Memphis Portland is fun as it sounds. Gets you Luka. Spending up, you said 10% on Luka here. Moody and Barnes, just an example lineup for everybody here today. James, got a favorite player prop of the day? Got anything you're looking at in particular here?
What do you got first?
I mean, I was looking at rebounds earlier today. I think Pirtle rebounds is one I'm looking to go over. He's been really good on the glass. So obviously, Golden State goes, a little bit smaller at times. They go a bit more athletic. And even though Pirtle's been playing, fewer minutes, like you mentioned, he's not getting 35. He's still been a very efficient guy on the board. So for me, I've locked in some Jakob Pirtle rebounds here tonight. I think it's probably one of my favorite plays here, and then I'm going back to the with a prop that we've done pretty good with here lately as well, and that is with the quickly points and rebounds. I just think he's a guy that has been efficient on the glass. We know the scoring's been there, so if you want to even get a little same game parlay, you can. I bet both of those individually, because again, we're looking at games and matchups here. This is a game that's a 237 total with a 2.5 point spread. So I'm expecting to be, competitive, high scoring. Golden State's on a back-to-back. So took a couple of the Toronto guys. If Donovan Mitchell gets ruled out, I'll probably look at some Cleveland props here as well. But I think for me, the two Toronto props there are what I'm looking at.
I mean, there's no way he's not going to. I mean, there's no way he's playing at this point.
He hasn't tweeted it out to let him know. So you're getting plus 120 on, by the way, on the Pirtle rebounds. It's 9.5. So here it is. Donovan
there
Mitchell
it is.
out.
Karis LeVert
also
my
out. So
so starting lineup is just easy. Okoro. Yeah, Okoro. Okoro's the obvious plug.
Yeah.
There.
Well, we don't want to play Okoro, but he's a...
No, I'm just saying for their lineup, like their lineup specifically.
Sure.
Like, and then it just depends on what they do, like off the bench, because obviously LeVert has been their primary bench, like that's been their 6th man.
Yeah.
So I wonder if you just see Okoro extended. I wonder if that extends, like you mentioned, Sam Merrill, who's kind of just been out of the rotation a little bit, like 6 to 12 minutes. But like you're taking their primary two of their 3 primary ball handlers off the floor. Like this is a smash spot against Detroit. Like this is a smash. I would pivot some of my Memphis exposure if I could to like fit Cleveland. Like Cleveland. Okay, here's a question for you, John. I don't think it matters so much to Memphis side because I think Memphis value. I think it matters more on the Portland side because they're direct pivots from. Would you play Simons or Garland?
Garland. You said that.
Mobley over Grant.
Yeah.
Right? Like I agree. I think like where you were getting Portland chalk.
Brandon Miller ruled out tonight.
Oh man. Oh, I love to see the chaos on late swap.
I mean, well, the thing is, like, at least it's happening ahead of time.
I said it in the Discord.
Curious to see
earlier.
Who plugs in for Miller there.
I said it in the Discord earlier. And if anyone wants to, get in on the Fantasy Alarm Discord, I will drop the link. If you want to become a premium member, that the Discord comes with that. But I said I want. And I want no subscriber to face this. But I want 56 players ruled out after lock tonight. Just 56. I want them all ruled out. I want everybody ruled out after lock. Knock on wood that it's anyone in our lineups, but like, because it just sucks.
Yeah.
Just late swap sucks. But definitely interesting. I definitely like the Cleveland guys more than Portland for sure.
If you're playing on FanDuel tonight. You have to pick 2 point guards. Okay. You have Luka Doncic, you have Darius Garland now, and you have Jordan Goodwin.
Yeah, see, this is the Luka. This is why Luka's so low, because you also have Simons. Technically, like Simons also, I think, still point guard, shooting guard.
Simons
maybe not.
Is both, shooting guard and point guard.
So, like, at least you could play Simons. I mean, like Luka's your odd man out in that scenario.
Mm-hmm.
He is. No doubt.
He doesn't have to be.
He doesn't in a
That's
cash
Curry
game.
officially starting for
Seth.
Yeah.
So nailed that. Nice. Undoubtedly, your cash game, if you're playing cash on FanDuel, it's Garland, Goodwin.
Mhm.
That's your point guards, period. If you had, but okay, let me ask you this question,
Sure.
John. If you are plugging Luka, which one are you more likely to fade on FanDuel? Darius Garland against Detroit?
I think Garland's the one you're fading.
Because what's Goodwin's price on FanDuel?
53.
And Garland's like probably 7.
7K.
Yeah. I would say probably Garland.
And you're getting Luka in your lineup. So
yep.
I think that's probably the way you go. And then you just play like Evan Mobley or something like that.
Agreed, Nico. Trey Man does take a leap. The only thing is, like, he does have, like, the Brandon Miller news. Trey Man has been the direct starter, and Vasilija Micic has been the direct backup.
Right.
So it's not like we haven't really seen them play alongside of one another. So in terms of like usage and stuff, sure. I'm Trey Man's biggest fan. I've been on my Twitter clamoring for Charlotte to shut down LaMelo since they made the trade. So that would help both my seasonal fantasy teams. That's mostly why. But John just built. Hey, look at that! Good guy, John. Round of applause for John. Building a FanDuel lineup for the folks at home. Good job.
We'll get $900 to play with too if we wanted to, but just threw something together for y'all.
This is tournaments.
Yeah, tournaments. By the way, love the shot they're taking at DraftKings. Late swap shot.
I am taking all my money and putting it on FanDuel for that. Salute to you.
$30K NBA late swap shot.
That is amazing, dude.
So yeah, if you want to get Luka in your lineup, we got Luka, Goodwin, Vince Williams, Seth Curry, Zaire Williams, Jeremy Grant, Evan Mobley, Santi Aldama, and Duop Breath with $900 left over. I mean, I didn't look to see what center would be with 57 remaining.
Or Santi, or playing Santi there.
Or Mobley, right? I guess they both
or have. Mobley. So 57 power forward or 57.
We can like play this game all the way down to like shooting guard, I think, on FanDuel. Like everybody,
probably.
Everybody has the multi-position. Like Jeremy Grant can definitely play power forward. So let's see.
GG if he played.
GG if he played. Let's see. Small forward would be Herbie. And does she get shooting guard eligibility? Doesn't, just small forward. So we get shut down at small forward here. Vince probably has small forward eligibility.
Chris, see you at the top, brother. See you at the top.
What's going on here? Vince Williams. There it is. So we got shooting guard. We got a shooting guard 57. Clay. Cody Martin.
Clay. Moody.
Yeah, Moody's 39. Let's see. If we did Grant. Let's see. I'm like super laggy now all of a sudden. Grant, Vince Williams. Told you we could move our way all the way down to shooting guard on this. I mean, would you play Herb still? And hope he has like one of those Herb games?
I'm indifferent. Like,
I mean, for tournaments, right? I mean, like,
yeah. When everyone's healthy, he's obviously the shot volume's just not.
Yeah,
that much.
Sure.
Like, no.
So yeah, just an example lineup. I mean, for FanDuel, you at least have the defensive upside there with Jones. So no dollars left over. Luka, Goodwin, Herb Jones, Seth Curry, Zaire Williams, Vince Williams, Jeremy Grant, Santi Aldama, Evan Mobley. So just an example lineup for you FanDuel friends over there. And again, we play on FanDuel. Don't worry about it. I'll have the playbook updated again. Trying to work through some technical issues on that side. I might just have the write-ups with some additional lists of players here, but get us in the Discord, find us on Twitter. Good luck, everybody, tonight. Again, no late swap on DraftKings, so just keep your ear to the ground and be around for 7 p.m. roster locks. So you don't get caught with some zeros in your lineup. We'll catch you all on Monday.